Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of RV Tips and Trips. Today I want to talk to you about towing. Too often do I see vehicles going down the highway or leaving the campground where I'm at. I just saw one the other day where they left and the trailer and the tow vehicle was just not set up correctly at all and can make a very dangerous situation driving down the highway. So, here's a little visual aid here. This top picture represents the proper way that the trailer and the tow vehicle should be sitting. So, level. Both the tow vehicle and the trailer should be level when running down the highway. The other day, and I see this a lot down the highway, now this is a little exaggerated, but this lower one shows the trailer is pitched forward and the back end of the tow vehicle is pitched back, and that is really a bad thing to do. So number one, let's see if we can get this here. Like I said, this is really greatly exaggerated, but this front axle on this trailer has got more weight on it than the back axle. And what that can do is your axles are only rated to carry so much weight. And the way they do this is if your trailer loaded max is 12,000 pounds, then each of these axles will be rated for 6,000 pounds, and that's it. So if you got your trailer tipped forward, then you got more weight on the front axle than you do on the back, and so that means you could be exceeding the weight limit on that front axle. And you can bend the axle, because these axles have a normal bend to them, so you can flatten them and put them out of alignment. Hit a bump, you could break a weld, which is something that I've experienced. Welds breaking on these things. They do not really over specify these things. I mean, they are, bare minimum is my experience with these trailers when they spec components out. So in order for these axles to carry the full max weight of 12,000 pounds, the trailer must be level, and then you have equal weight across the axles. The other thing is the tow vehicle got a lot of weight back on the rear wheels, and you got the front of the vehicle nosing up. And when you do that, you have less control on your steering, especially if you got like wet roads and stuff. The vehicle's not going to handle very well. Same thing with the trailer. With the weight being tipped forward like that, you're going to get fishtailing down the highway. It can lead into a dangerous situation, because you start fluctuating like this as you're going down the highway. That can amplify and then get worse and worse and worse. It's called sway, and then have an accident because you just totally lost control of the vehicle. So this here, no good. This is the way you want it. Fifth wheel's the same thing. You want the fifth wheel riding level and the tow vehicle riding level. This way you got equal weight all around. Now I've seen fifth wheels where they had a lifted truck pulling the fifth wheel, which then put the fifth wheel at an angle like this, and that shifted the weight back. Can be a dangerous situation there again. So fifth wheels must be level. There is a way to adjust the fifth wheel, and that's with the fifth wheel apparatus that you have on your truck. And how do you fix this? I'm going to tell you here in a second. Okay, so one of the things that you would need to do to address this problem for the tow behind trailer, you should have a weight distribution system. And what that does is there's like really heavy duty springs, they're bars, and they lift the nose of the trailer up. And when you do that, you lift and shift the weight back. It's also shifting the weight on the tow vehicle, shifting it towards the front, because it's like a teeter-totter kind of thing. But so it shifts the tow vehicle weight forward and lifts the nose of the trailer up also to ride level. So weight distribution system with the heavier trailers is an absolute must. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, and then you will be a lot more stable going down the highway. All right, so now we've explained the weight distribution system and how you set those up, and that is for another video. So I dealt with one of those for a long time. We had a tow behind, and they're not bad to deal with. So weight distribution system. The other thing is you need to distribute the weight in your trailer evenly, so you don't have a ton of stuff up in the nose and nothing in the back end. You got to try and move your cargo around in the trailer to help with making the trailer ride level. So like I said, it's important that we have even weight distribution across those axles. We don't want to break an axle because we got 7,000 pounds on the front axle or the rear axle, depending on which way your trailer is pivoting. So but that's the biggest thing, is riding level. Get your weight load evenly distributed in the trailer, and I always travel with my tanks empty, and that can help alleviate some of your towing problems as well. Bare minimum on the water, just so you can use the toilet when you're traveling down the road. We're going from RV park to RV park, so it's no big deal. We travel with virtually no water in the freshwater tank. And certainly make sure that your gray and black tanks are empty. That's extra weight that you're carrying around that you really don't need. So the other thing I've noticed driving down the highway a lot, I mean, I'll tootle around at about 60 miles an hour. That's where I tend to hang. I've seen a lot of vehicles just fly on by me, pulling a fifth wheel or a travel trailer. I mean, flying by. Dangerous situation number one. It's a lot of weight. And you try and stop, your stopping distance is definitely hindered the faster you go. So slower speeds, less stopping distance, safer. But these trailers come with tires that are rated for trailers. That's the ST part of the number on your tire, ST whatever it is, 265 whatever, which is the profile of the tire. The ST stands for trailer use. Typically the stock wheels or tires that the manufacturers provide to you are rated for 65 miles an hour. So you shouldn't be exceeding that speed. You could end up with a blowout, number one. So keep your speeds down. Also, if you start to sway, it's going to be amplified the faster you're going as well. And you get into a really dangerous sway situation. It can be a total disaster. So also, if like I said, they're rated for 65 miles an hour. Typically, you can buy new tires that are rated to 85, 87 miles an hour, like the Goodyear Endurance tires. They can be expensive, but keep your speed down. I've had tires like Trailer King and Carlisle and that, and I've had no problems. I've never had a blowout on the road yet pulling a trailer. But like I said, I'm not driving down the highway at 80 miles an hour. And it's the tendency for the newbies, and these dealers probably don't tell people. I've never had one tell me to keep the speed at 65 or less because of the tire ratings. So 65 miles an hour, I probably wouldn't want to drive them any faster than that. And then also with the higher speeds, you generate more heat in the tire itself, and that can lead to blowouts. So there's a definite temperature rating on these tires, there's a speed rating on them, and besides a load rating on them. So, and that's the other thing, proper tire inflation. Just because it says 80 psi on the sidewall of the tire, that doesn't mean that's what you should be inflating your tires to. You need to look at the label on the trailer, and it tells you what the proper amount of air pressure should be in those tires. So just a word of caution, do it by those. The tire pressure is really, there's a chart that you can look at. Goodyear provides one for the endurance tires, and the high pressure 80 is the absolute max, and that's for maximum load on the tire. If your weight is way less than what the tire is rated for, then you're going to use some other pressure less than the 80 psi. So typically they're probably going to be in the neighborhood of 60-65 psi is where I seem to see most of them. So look on the label on the trailer, and it'll tell you what the proper inflation is. Go by that, not by what's stamped on the sidewall. If the sidewall of the trailer tire is labeled for a pressure less than what's on your label on the trailer, then that tire is not adequate for your trailer. So keep that in mind too. All right. That's about all I wanted to touch on today, was the weight situation with the trailer and how dangerous of a situation that can be. So there's a lot that can go on while driving down the highway, and so we want to minimize your risks. So slow down, level out your load, and you'll be good. All right, until next time, happy camping. Bye now.